past 18 months, I've sounded the alarm time and time again about the so-called pro-Palestinian movement's dangerous agenda. I warned that once they were done vilifying Israel and twisting her history to fit their hateful narrative, they'd turn their sights on Australia. And now, as we gear up to honour the Australian heroes who gave their lives for our freedom, a group called Teachers and School Staff for Palestine Victoria is pushing to rewrite our school curriculum. Their goal? To indoctrinate our kids into despising the very heroes who fought for us. This morning, their spokesperson went head-to-head with Tom Elliott on 3AW in an interview every Australian needs to hear. Let's take a listen.
Our next guest feels that Anzac Day should be taught a little differently in schools. She is a representative or a spokesperson for Teachers and School Staff for Palestine. Lucy Honan, good morning.
Hi, Tom.
How do you think Anzac Day should be taught?
We want to teach children beyond the mythology. We want to give them information about what the original Anzacs were actually involved in and let them think critically about the consequences of some of the things they did. And for example, this year we've released a resource that looks at the way the original Anzacs were involved in crushing the national revolution of the Egyptians in 1919. Some of the atrocities that they were involved in, including burning villages, burning dwellings, breaking up protests, breaking up public meetings, banning propaganda, and whipping and lashing people. This is just one of the events or series of events that the original Anzacs were involved in because of their role in supporting British imperialism at the time and then later American imperialism.
Well,
we think it's
incredibly
important.
On imperialism, though, I mean, World War I was a war of empires. I mean, the Anzacs in the Middle East and in North Africa were fighting against another empire called the Ottoman Empire, which had allied itself with Germany.
Mm.
So, I mean, you know, to say that, oh, they were imperialists, well, the people in charge of that area were also an empire. They were just a different empire.
So true. Tom's one of the few fearless enough to confront these history rewriters head on. This is exactly what they do with Israel, distorting the facts to craft a narrative that attacks everything we hold dear. Now listen to what this spokesperson told Tom about their issue with Anzac Day specifically.
I think those themes of self-sacrifice and community and, solidarity with each other are really important themes to celebrate, but then it's a myth and it's actually a lie.
But why is it a myth? Why is it a myth?
Because the self-sacrifice that they were asked to do wasn't simply a sacrifice for the greater good. It was a sacrifice that led to killing people. It led to the occupation of other people's lands.
But Lucy,
and it led to them
Lucy,
enacting incredibly violent...
the vast majority of Australian troops fought on the Western Front from 1916 to 1918. They were fighting militaristic Germany. It was easily the biggest and most awful war humankind had ever seen. And it was sacrifice. And the point was we were an all-volunteer army. Something like a third of all military-age men volunteered from Australia, volunteered and served overseas in the most awful war. And even though they saw people not returning or people were returning with terrible wounds, blind, limbs amputated, gas, and they still volunteered to fight.
Yes, the Anzacs were courageous Australian heroes. Let's never forget that. We can't let revisionist history take a hold and allow these so-called educators to poison the minds of our next generation. And if that wasn't outrageous enough, here's how the interview ended when Tom asked her if any wars are worth fighting.
I think there are wars worth fighting, but I don't think that the Anzac mythology supports or helps us understand which ones to support. In fact, I think it covers up so much of the crimes and so much of the root cause of the devastating wars that led to, deeper problems. And we're trying to understand what happens in the Middle East today.
Should World War II have been fought?
I think there are real crimes that Australians were involved in World War II. My
Come on,
grandfather
we
talked
were
about
facing...
the way that he was mobilised to bomb Dresden, and he regrets it, and he regretted it, towards the end of his life, the way that he was used to destroy people. And there were many people who wanted to be involved in the fight against authoritarianism and Nazism, but to reduce Australian militarism at that point to what was happening there is to close off discussion and critical discussion about the way that Australians were used in racist ways across the Pacific and also in Germany.
Well, I'm sorry, I cannot disagree with you more about Australia in the Pacific. Was battling a very real enemy, Japan. And you want to talk about people who were racist. The Japanese were just about the most racist people on earth, perhaps not quite as racist as the Nazis, but there was a race to the bottom there. And as for Dresden, I can tell you the Germans were the first to bomb cities. They bombed Coventry early in the war. Once they did that, the gloves were off. The Germans started it. Never forget.
That's right. Never forget. We fought the racists. We won. And we must ensure that our kids aren't taught to erase our history by these Australia-hating teachers for Palestine. If you believe every Aussie needs to know how deeply the anti-Israel movement despises our nation, hit the like button, drop a comment, and share this video far and wide. Then head over to rebelstore.com.au, grab yourself some patriotic merch, just like this one. Show your pride, look sharp, and support your favourite news network all at the same time. rebelstore.com.au, stand tall for Australia.